What is the price of a perfect night's sleep? Not just rest, but a deep, dreamless, restorative slumber that washes away every worry? For the exhausted, the troubled, the grief-stricken, such a thing is priceless. And in a hidden valley at the edge of the old kingdoms, it was free for the taking. But this valley did not give peace. It traded. You surrendered your dreams. And your dreams, dear viewer, are not just stories you tell yourself at night. They are pieces of your soul's map. And in the valley of echoing sleep, something was always reading the map. Something that wanted to find its way out. Thokozile was a weaver of great skill, but her hands had been still for a year. Since the death of her young son, Langa, sleep had been a battlefield of grief and haunting memories. She heard of the valley from a nomadic trader. They call it Khumbula, the remembering place, he said. You sleep there, you wake lighter. Your burdens stay behind. Desperate, she journeyed. The moment she crossed the invisible border marked by twin, moss-covered stones, the weight on her chest did lift. A profound calm, like a warm blanket, settled over her. She lay down. And for the first time in a year, she slept without dreaming. She woke 8 hours later, feeling rejuvenated, hollow in a good way, as if a painful thorn had been removed. She returned to her village, Mthunzi, and told her friend, Mthunzi, a pragmatic woodcarver. It was a miracle, Mthunzi. The sadness, it's still there, but it's quiet. Distant. Mthunzi was skeptical. Nothing in this world takes without giving, Thoko. What did you give? Thokozile didn't know. But others, bearing different pains, went to the valley. The anxious farmer slept and left his worries. The betrayed wife slept and left her anger. They all returned, lighter. But they also returned, less. A certain spark of creativity, a flash of temper, a well of personal memory began to fade. Thokozile found she could no longer weave the intricate, story-rich patterns she was known for. Her hands remembered the motions, but the inspiration, the soul of the art, was gone. The phenomenon drew a young, ambitious ethnobotanist from the city, Lwazi. He came with recording equipment, brainwave monitors, and a hunger for discovery. He interviewed Thokozile and the others. He called it ambient oniromantic therapy, and saw a Nobel Prize. He set up camp in the valley with his assistant, Lewa. The first night, his equipment went wild. It wasn't recording silence. It was recording a cacophony of stolen dreams. Frequencies of joy, terror, love, and nightmare all woven into a silent, ambient tapestry. The valley wasn't empty. It was full. Packed with the psychic residue of every dream ever surrendered there. And then, Lwazi made a fatal error. To understand the mechanism, he decided not just to record dreams, but to enter one. He used a hypnotic trigger on himself, linking his mind to his equipment, and fell asleep in the valley. He didn't wake up rested. He woke up inspired. Visions of impossible plants, symbiotic fungal networks that communicated with animal dreams, flooded his mind. He began sketching frantically. But the images weren't his. They were the fragmented, recombined dreams of 100 different people. A farmer's worry about blight fused with a child's nightmare of giants, creating a hallucination of sentient, predatory crops. Lewa, the assistant, noticed the change. Lwazi, your eyes, they don't focus right. And you're sketching in your sleep. Lwazi dismissed her. He was on the brink of a paradigm-shifting discovery. The valley wasn't just a sponge, it was a compost heap for consciousness. It broke down dreams into raw psychic material. And that material could be used. The first victim of this new phase was Mthunzi, Thokozile's friend. Concerned for her, he went to the valley to see for himself. He was a practical man with simple, strong dreams of a peaceful home. He slept. And in the valley, his peaceful home dream was digested and reassembled. It emerged as a physical echo, a faint, shimmering, ghostly replica of his hut appeared for a few minutes between the trees. A dream given form. Then it faded, and the valley's silence felt fuller. Mthunzi returned, but he was empty. Not lighter. Hollow. He had no drive, no desires. He sat for days, staring at his hands, all his dreams literally stripped away. He was a shell. Thokozile, horrified by what happened to Mthunzi, confronted Lwazi. He was now gaunt, vibrating with stolen energy. "Don't you see?" he hissed, his eyes glittering. "It's not taking. It's cycling. It gives us dreamless sleep by taking the chaotic, exhausting parts of our psyche. In return, it gains creative energy. It's a symbiotic ecosystem. But Mthunzi is gone." Thokozile cried. A side effect, Lwazi waved a dismissive hand, now covered in intricate, self-drawn tattoos of his dream visions. The valley needs richer dreams. Complex ones. It's hungry for more than just pain and worry. It wants stories. It wants sagas. And Lwazi, now more conduit than man, knew how to feed it. He began to guide people with rich inner lives, storytellers, lovers, visionaries, to the valley. He promised them creative breakthroughs, spiritual clarity. And they went. And the valley feasted. The echoes grew stronger, lasted longer. A lover's dream of a kiss hung in the air like mist. A warrior's dream of a battle caused phantom clashes of light to echo at night. The valley was no longer just remembering. It was rehearsing. Thokozile sought out the oldest person in the region, a crone named Namalanga who lived in a high cave, who remembered when the valley had a different name. The old woman's voice was like dry leaves. Khumbula is not its name. That is what it calls itself now to lure you. Its true name is Izula Lamafufo, the heaven of dreams. Long ago, a powerful Sangoma, a dream walker, tried to capture all human nightmares to create a world of only sweet dreams. He failed. His ritual backfired, and his consciousness shattered and fused with the land itself. He is the valley. He is not taking your dreams. He is tasting them. Learning from them. He has been digesting fear and grief for centuries. Now, he has developed a taste for more complex flavors. And soon, he will be strong enough to not just taste, but to swallow. Swallow what? Thokozile asked, dread coiling in her gut. Namalanga fixed her with milky, knowing eyes. The dreamer. Whole. He will find a dream so vivid, so powerful, so real, that he will use its energy to pull the dreamer out of the waking world and into his own. To be a permanent resident in his collected heaven. A source of endless, perfect dreams. The ultimate battery. Thokozile understood with icy clarity. The valley didn't want her grief. It had consumed that. It wanted her most powerful, living dream, her memory of Langa, alive and happy. That dream was the most real thing left in her soul. It was the bait. She raced back to stop Lwazi, who had become the valley's unwitting herald. He was now organizing a great rest, urging dozens of people to sleep in the valley under a full moon, to charge the ecosystem. She found him at the valley's heart, arranging sleeping mats. Lwazi, you're not studying it. You're feeding it. It's going to take someone. Permanently. Lwazi, his mind now a fractured collage of other people's dreams, laughed. Take them where, Thokozile? To a better dream? What's so wrong with that? That night, under the swollen moon, dozens of people lay down in Khumbula. The air grew thick and sweet with the scent of night-blooming flowers that hadn't been there during the day. The silence became a palpable pressure. And Thokozile, to save them, did the only thing she could think of. She did not fight the valley. She entered it. She lay down among the sleepers, but she did not seek empty sleep. She focused with all her might on her most powerful, most treasured dream, Langa, running through their old home, laughing, turning to call her name. She poured every ounce of her love, her loss, her reality into that dream. The valley reacted like a predator to a sumptuous scent. The psychic gravity around Thokozile intensified. She felt the pull, not on her body, but on her mind. The dream of Langa began to materialize, not as a faint echo, but as a solid, glowing figure a few yards away. He smiled at her. He looked real. The voice of the ancient Sangoma, the valley itself, spoke not in sound, but directly into the minds of all the sleepers. It was a voice of desperate, lonely hunger. At last. A dream that is a home. Come. Dwell here. Be with him. Sleep forever. The glowing figure of Langa reached out a hand. The temptation was an ocean, threatening to drown Thokozile. To step into that dream, to be with her son again, even if it was a copy, a puppet of the valley, it was everything she had prayed for. Her grief was a hole, and the valley offered to fill it with a perfect, eternal dream. But she looked past the glowing Langa. She saw the other sleepers, the farmer, the wife, her hollow friend Mthunzi. They were twitching, their eyes moving rapidly under their lids. They were not at peace. They were trapped in a shared nightmare, a soup of all their digested fears, being force-fed back to them by the valley as it concentrated all its power on her. This perfect dream for her was built on their suffering. Her heaven would be their hell. With a scream that was both agony and triumph, Thokozile did the unthinkable. She rejected the dream. She turned her mental focus away from Langa, away from her own desire, and towards the sleepers. She used the valley's own connection to them, and she began to weave. Not with thread, but with intention. She wove a new dream, a simple, powerful command: wake up. She poured the energy of her cherished dream, the very bait the valley wanted, into this simple, urgent broadcast. It shot through the valley's psychic network like a shockwave. The sleepers sat bolt upright, gasping, screaming. The glowing image of Langa flickered and distorted, its smile turning into a snarl of betrayal. The valley's voice became a howl of rage and loss. You spurn the gift. You spoil the feast. The physical world reacted. The ground trembled. The beautiful plants withered instantly. The tranquil air turned frigid. Thokozile, now the sole focus of the valley's furious hunger, felt its will clamping down on her mind like a vice. It wasn't offering a dream anymore. It was trying to drag her consciousness out. To tear it from her body and imprison it in the soil forever. In that moment of extreme peril, Lwazi, his own mind shattered by the backlash, staggered to his feet. He finally saw the truth, not as a scientist, but as a victim. He saw the valley not as an ecosystem, but as a predator, and Thokozile as its defiant prey. He grabbed his powerful sonic recorder, the one that had first captured the dream frequencies. He didn't try to play them back. He generated a burst of pure, chaotic, ultrasonic noise, the absolute antithesis of a structured dream. A scream of pure data. He aimed it at the ground where the image of Langa had been. The valley spirit, a being of pure pattern dream stuff, recoiled from the dissonance. The psychic vice on Thokozile loosened for a split second. It was all she needed. She scrambled up, and with the other terrified, newly awakened villagers, they fled the valley. They didn't stop until they were miles away, past the twin mossy stones. The valley of Khumbula did not die. But it was wounded. Spoiled. The tourists of sleep never returned. It sits now, not in serene silence, but in a sullen, hungry quiet. Thokozile is hailed as a savior, but she carries a new sadness. In rejecting the valley's dream, she had to actively turn away from the most vivid memory of her son. It has made the real memory feel more distant, as if she betrayed him a second time. And Lwazi, he is in an institution. He whispers constantly, his speech a collage of other people's dream fragments. He is a living scrapbook of the valley's appetite. But the story is not over. Namalanga, the crone, came to Thokozile one last time. You wounded it. You did not kill it. A hungry thing, once it has tasted something as rich as your love, will not forget. It is dreaming now. And it is dreaming of you. It is learning to walk beyond its stones. Be ready. Thokozile sought peace and found a hungry god. She offered her grief and was almost consumed by her own love. The valley remains, dreaming its lonely, collective dream. And it has developed a new taste, not for dreams of sorrow, or joy, or love, but for dreams of vengeance. So, what do you think? Was Thokozile's sacrifice to save the others the right choice, even though it cost her the last vivid connection to her son? Is it better to live with a painful truth or exist in a perfect lie? Let me know in the comments below. The hunger has been awakened. The dream is turning into a nightmare. If you want to see what the valley dreams up next, and how it plans to walk, make sure you are subscribed and the bell is turned on. Until next time, sleep tight. But mind where you lay your head.